Hello everyone, it's me again. I'm here with another video. Today's video will be, what if Elita 1 was in Transformers Prime? This one I've held back on for a very long time, and I seriously wanted to make this video months ago. Now, I feel like Elita 1's inclusion in the show could have been possible because one issue I had with Transformers Prime was the lack of diversity in the Autobots. Like, RC was the only female on the Autobot team. That always bugged me. But that issue has played Transformers before. Like, back when G1 started, back when the franchise started, there was a lack of female characters, and that's why Elite One, the female Autobots, were created to add in some diversity to the cast of robots. But then I did hear that RC was created, that his daughter was a fan of Transformers. One of the writers, Ron Freeman, said that his daughter was a fan of the franchise and so created RC. But I don't know if he forgot about Elita 1. I could be wrong. This issue has plagued the Unicron trilogy as well, in which RC was like the only female Autobot. There were no female Autobots in Armada. It did get better in Energon and Cybertron with RC and Override being introduced. In anime, there was only a female Decepticon, Black Arachnia, who turned out to be Elita 1, and then RC got introduced. Did plague animated a little bit, but it did plague Prime with one female Autobot, RC, and one female Decepticon, Arachnid. That plagued Prime a lot. And did it plague Cyberverse? No. Cyberverse actually did a better job with that. Same thing with Earthspark. At least those two shows did a better job. At least it got better in those shows. But then it kind of went back in Cyberworld with, just the Elita 1 right now. But according to the 2026 listings on the TFW 2005 website, Arachnid is going to appear, but I don't know why. Part of me feels like one reason why Cyberworld is taking this hiatus, despite the fact that episode 20 came out and episode 2136 are not even out yet, is because we haven't gotten the designs for Arachnid and the other characters that were listed yet. So it's understandable to why take the hiatus, because there are more characters to be introduced. But let's just get into the story properly, since I was going a bit off topic. I feel like her introduction could have been the episode Con Job. However, there's the issue that an episode Harder, Faster, Stronger, or Faster, Stronger, I think that's what the episode was called. I'm pretty sure it was, but I did hear that episode feature a scene where Ratchet brought up a line of dialogue that would have implied Elita 1 died during the war, when Optimus in reaction would punch Ratchet. So switch up the order of the episodes in this case. Harder, Faster would come first. Apparently it would be like the 8th episode instead of Con Job that would take over its place as, I don't know. Let me research the TFW wiki for a minute. Okay, Fast and Stronger was the 22nd episode. I forgot for a moment. But let's just get to episode 8, which is Stronger, Faster. That episode remained the same even with Ratchet's dialogue of Elita 1 being implied to have died during the war, but in reality, that's not really the case. Optimus wouldn't punch Ratchet, because I can see why that scene was cut, because they didn't want Optimus to get that angry that early. I can understand that. So that wouldn't change. Instead, I could picture Optimus looking at Ratchet saying, "Are you sure that Elita's dead?" And Ratchet could say something like, "Who knows?" And that could leave the audience wondering what happened to Elita 1. Is she dead? Is she alive? But then we get to episode 22, Con Job. Megatron being in slumber, that would be taken out. Or maybe episode 22, you know what, maybe extend season 1 to 27 episodes, because episode 9 would be Con Job, and that episode wouldn't change except Elita 1 would replace Wheeljack. I feel like Optimus would see Elita 1 and would be pleased to see her again after being assumed dead. But in reality, this is actually Makeshift disguised as Elita 1. And then essentially, this would be revealed when someone like Bumblebee or RC or even Ratchet discover this. And Optimus is like, Elita, no. But when he discovers it's Makeshift, this leads to Optimus questioning Makeshift what he did to her. And of course, Elita 1 comes into the picture. And when Makeshift die, though, I think he would survive, but the plans would change in revealing the Autobots' location. That would be postponed. But then, how would this affect later seasons? Or later episodes? Not much. Episode 22 would basically be an episode focusing on Elita 1 before she was captured by the Decepticons. Apparently, she would have had a team of female Autobots, which would have been Greenlight, Lancer, Moonracer, and Firestar, as a reference to the episode The Search for Alpha Trion. And basically, they were facing the Decepticon known as Shockwave. But who would be with Shockwave at this point in time? No one. Shockwave would be the only Decepticon. And basically, it would be revealed that Greenlight was killed. Even Firestar died. Moonracer and Lancer, their fates are kind of left up in the air at the end of the episode. But Elita would be, on her ship until she is captured by Makeshift, who would have been in this episode as Shockwave's accomplice. And it can be implied that Shockwave was the one that gave Makeshift his cloaking abilities, which I feel like that's what Shockwave would have done if he hadn't known who Makeshift was. I think that's what he would have done, honestly. The Orion Pax storyline wouldn't really change at all, except Elita 1 would accompany Jack to find the key to Vector Sigma to restore Optimus's memories. And during this time, Optimus would call Elita 1 Ariel, of course. But then you have to talk about Ariel, who was originally Elita 1. Apparently, Elita 1, then known as Ariel, and Optimus, known as Orion Pax, befriended Megatronus, but Megatronus, became Megatron. How Optimus became, how Orion became Optimus remained the same, but how Ariel became Elita 1 is that she tried to stop Megatron from killing Sentinel Prime, who may have been the corrupt leader of Cybertron, and kill the 13 Primes, and Megatron wanted to bring Sentinel to justice, and same thing with Optimus. It's kind of like Transformers 1. And essentially, before Megatron could kill Sentinel, he accidentally shoots and kills Elita before he kills Sentinel. And even Optimus would try to stop Megatron, but He fails and Megatron kills Sentinel. And this leads Optimus with a dying Ariel. And of course, apparently, how did Ariel become Elita 1 is that I guess Ratchet could have rebuilt her with a new body, even with Wheeljack, as a reference to his scientific origins in G1. But Wheeljack would have made his debut in the episode Loose Cannons, by the way. Especially after Optimus's memories are restored. Remember that episode when Optimus and RC went to the Arctic? That would be filmed by Elita 1. Because reasons. Just to develop the romance between Optimus and Elita 1. Right there. Gotta love those two. I certainly do. But what about the events of Season 2? Like the rest of Season 2? I don't really see any changes. I think they'd be the same. Except Elita 1 would have helped Optimus on certain occasions, like when getting the Star Saber and facing Soundwave when searching for one of the relics. Then you get to the finale. She would want to stay with Optimus. She wouldn't want him to. She would want to be by Optimus' side. She wouldn't want to leave him. And then you get to the first half of Season 3, where she tries to stop Megatron from killing Optimus, if this were to be the case here. And basically she does, but she could be injured. Even Smokescreen could help her with her injuries, and I don't really see a lot changing in Season 3, other than Moonracer would have came with Ultra Magnus, because in the IDW comics, Moonracer was a member of the Wreckers, so that, in my opinion, would be rather fitting. Lancer could also be a member, maybe? I think Lancer would have been introduced as a captive of Shockwave and later rescued by the Autobots. So, yeah, not really. But I think another member that would come with Ultra Magnus would probably be, I guess, someone like Cup, if I'm being honest. But then, when you get to, the finale where Megatron dies, essentially she and Optimus grieve over their former friend who died. Then you move on to Predacons Rising, which wouldn't really change other than she and Optimus would say their goodbyes to Megatron, like how. I'm gonna say how is, as soon as Megatron, transforms and leaves, saying that the Decepticons are no more, they would say, farewell, old friend. Farewell, Megatronus. That, in my opinion, would add a touching layer to that scene. But then you gotta think about the ending. Optimus would still sacrifice herself, and she would be hesitant to let Optimus go at first, but in the end decides, you know what? Cybertron needs to be restored. And you're the only one who could and can do it, Optimus. And of course, she lets Optimus go, make that decision, and then movie ends all the same. So that's what if Elita 1 was in Transformers Prime. Now the question is, should Elita 1 have been in the show? Yes, she definitely should have been in Transformers Prime. Because again, her inclusion could have been possible, but they chose not to include her. If you're asking me what's taking my rear Transformers Prime, I'm going to wait until Phoenix Studios' season 3 is like, I'm not going to say complete, but maybe when the rewrite challenge he gave out is done, which will likely be later during the year. But anyways, I will see you all later.